Pick up the phone and just listen for a moment. I'm about to reveal a manifestation secret so unique and so powerful that it is almost never taught correctly in the mainstream community. While everyone else is telling you to stare at vision boards that you eventually stop looking at, or to script until your hand cramps, I'm going to show you how a simple 30-second imaginary conversation can force the universe to deliver a massive breakthrough. This is the telephone technique Neville Goddard shared as his legendary secret, a method he considered the ultimate shortcut to the state of the wish fulfilled. But before I show you the protocol, I want to prove to you right now, wherever you are, that your brain is already a master at this. I want to do a quick 10-second experiment that will change how you view your mind forever. Close your eyes. Don't try to see anything. Instead, I want you to hear the sound of a doorbell ringing in your house. Hear that specific chime. Now, hear the sound of your phone's specific ringtone, the exact melody that usually makes you reach for your pocket. Can you hear the melody? Can you hear the vibration against your palm? You just proved that your inner ear is a high-speed rail to your subconscious. You didn't have to work for that. The sound was just there. Today, I'm going to show you how to use that audio power through Neville Goddard telephone technique to bypass your visual struggles and manifest money, love, and health faster than you ever thought possible. Have you ever noticed that even when you're sitting in total silence, your mind is never actually quiet? You are constantly talking to yourself. In fact, psychologists estimate we have thousands of internal monologues every single day. The problem is, most of those conversations are destructive. You're arguing with your boss about a meeting that hasn't happened yet, explaining yourself to an ex who isn't there, or telling yourself why you can't have your dream life. Neville Goddard taught that these inner conversations are the actual blueprints of your physical reality. Your life doesn't change because of what you wish for. It changes because of what you hear in the silence of your mind. But here is the real reason you failed in the past. I call it the liar's paradox. This is the biggest wall in manifestation. When you stand in front of the mirror and say, "I am a millionaire," while staring at a nearly empty bank account, your ego immediately calls you a liar. This creates a tug-of-war in your energy that stops the manifestation in its tracks. Utilizing the telephone technique Neville Goddard pioneered is the only method that bypasses this resistance entirely. Because when you imagine someone else congratulating you, you aren't the one making the claim. They are. Your ego doesn't fight it, because you are simply the observer of a conversation. It feels much more natural to hear someone else praise you than it does to brag to yourself. Today, I'm giving you the 4-step structure to make your subconscious accept this audio as a physical event. Pay close attention, because step 3 is where most people accidentally kill their results. Step 1 is to select your messenger. This choice is critical to your success. Don't pick a random celebrity or someone you haven't spoken to in years. You need to pick someone whose voice is already saved in your mental hard drive, so your brain doesn't have to work hard to recreate their tone, speed, or accent. You need someone with what I call emotional authority, your hype person. This is the one friend or family member who would be the very first person you'd call the moment you won the lottery or got engaged. If you pick someone who is usually skeptical or negative, your subconscious will produce a conversation filled with friction. You need someone whose voice carries the frequency of pure belief. Close your eyes for a second and think of that person. Remember the last time they were genuinely happy for you. Can you hear the crackle in their voice when they get excited? That is the frequency we are going to use to rewrite your future. Once you have your messenger, you need a short, punchy script. For Neville Goddard telephone technique to be effective, he emphasized that the more concise the conversation, the more powerful the manifestation. In the realm of the subconscious, more is always less. If your conversation is too long, your logical brain wakes up and starts asking how this happened, which instantly kicks you out of the state of creation. You want a snapshot script, a 10-second loop of victory that implies the end result is already a finished chapter. For wealth, you might hear, "I can't believe it. I just saw your update. You're really hitting 5 figures a month now? I'm so proud of you." For love, it could be, "Stop everything. I just saw you two at the park. You guys look so incredibly happy together." The how is always missing because the script assumes the result is already a fact. Your response in the script should be just as short, "I know. It finally clicked. It feels so natural now." Now we move into step 3, which involves the sensory tones of reality. This is where most people fail because they rush straight to the talking. Before the voice even speaks, You must anchor yourself in the physical sensations of the call to tell your brain this isn't a fantasy. This is the core of the telephone technique Neville Goddard taught. Close your eyes and feel the weight of the phone in your hand. Is the screen slightly warm against your ear? Feel the texture of your phone case. Is it smooth leather, grippy silicone, or cold metal? Hear the tiny click or the digital whoosh sound as the call connects. These boring details are actually the most important because they provide the brain with physical evidence. Think of your mind like a courtroom where you are trying to prove you are already successful. A vision board is just circumstantial evidence, but a physical phone call with a warm screen and a familiar voice is DNA evidence. The judge has no choice but to rule in your favor. The fourth step is your response, which seals the deal. This is the moment you transition from imagining to being. The biggest ego trap here is imagining yourself screaming or being shocked during the call. If you are shocked that you have money, you are telling the universe that you are someone who doesn't usually have it. Neville taught that the feeling of the wish fulfilled is naturalness. Your tone should be satisfied, grateful, and calm. Your response should have the energy of, yes, it's wonderful, isn't it? When you say, dinner is on me, or we've never been happier, say it with the casual confidence of someone who has been living this reality for months. This casual wealth or casual love is the frequency that forces the 3D world to move. But here is the secret that even many experts miss: the hang-up relief. The manifestation doesn't actually happen while you are talking. It happens in the moment of silence, right after the conversation ends. Think about how you feel in real life when you get the best news of your existence. You hang up the phone, you take a long, deep, shaky breath, and you look up at the ceiling and whisper, "Thank you." You feel a massive, heavy sense of relief. In that silence, you aren't a person who wants a breakthrough. You are a person who just had one. If you can stay in that feeling of relief for just 60 seconds after finishing Neville Goddard telephone technique, you have successfully planted the seed in the void. I remember a student named Marcus who was down to his last $500. I told him to stop applying for jobs and just hear his friend Sarah calling him to celebrate a huge contract. He applied the telephone technique Neville Goddard suggested for 3 nights. He felt the phone, he heard her specific laugh, and most importantly, he felt that after-call relief. On the 4th day, he bumped into a creative director at a coffee shop. Within an hour, his real phone rang. It was Sarah. She said the exact words he had imagined before she even knew about the meeting. 2 weeks later, he signed a $12,000 contract. The 3D world had no choice but to mirror the audio recording he had played in his mind. You must be careful though. You can do this technique for 5 minutes a day, but if the rest of your day is spent having mental arguments with your boss or your critics, you are using Neville Goddard telephone technique in reverse. Neville Goddard taught that your inner talking must be consistent. If you find yourself slipping into a negative argument, use a pattern interrupt immediately. Imagine your phone ringing in your head. Answer it. Imagine your hype person saying, "Hey, stop worrying. Remember how successful and at peace you are now." Use this as a spiritual shield to stay in your desired reality. The beauty of this technique is its versatility. You don't need a dark room or a trance state. You can do it while washing dishes or walking the dog. In fact, it's even more powerful when you act it out physically. Put your earbuds in and imagine you are on a hands-free call. Actually mumble your responses under your breath. When you involve your physical body in the play, you are telling your nervous system that this conversation is a 100% physical event. You are blurring the line between your imagination and the physical world until the physical world has no choice but to bridge the gap through the telephone technique Neville Goddard described. As you practice this, a voice might try to creep in and ask about the how or the when. Neville was very clear. The ways and means are none of your business. Your only job is to hear the congratulations. If you can hear the congratulations, the universe is legally bound by the laws of consciousness to provide the reason for them. It is a spiritual law of cause and effect. Don't worry about the logistics. The universe has ways of bringing people and events together that you could never imagine. The Neville Goddard telephone technique is your first step. It turns the dial of your frequency so you can finally hear the music of your new life. But if you want to know how to actually shift your entire soul into the parallel reality where that phone call isn't just a mental exercise, you need to understand the mechanics of the identity shift. If this technique is the phone call, parallel reality shifting is the GPS that takes you to the house where that call is happening. Tonight, as your head hits the pillow and the world goes quiet, I want you to hear that phone ring. Hear the one person you love telling you that the breakthrough you've been waiting for has finally arrived. Don't fall asleep wanting your dream life. Fall asleep talking about how you already have it. I want you to claim this success right now. Tell the universe you are ready to answer the call. Comment "IT is calling now" below to signal to your subconscious and the universe that the conversation has finished and your manifestation is being delivered. Your new life is calling. Are you gonna answer? I've put together a deep dive into how to bridge that gap and walk in your new identity every single day. If you're ready to stop trying to manifest and start being the manifestation, that is where we are going next. Everything you've learned here today about the telephone technique Neville Goddard left for us is a seed. Now it's time to learn how to master the soil. Thank you for being here and being ready to step into your power. Remember, this isn't just about information, it's about transformation. Go to the void, pick up the phone, and when they tell you they're proud of you, believe them. I'll see you on the other side of the breakthrough. Keep the line open. Bye-bye, till the next video.